Hello everybody, Mitzi Cruz here, host of Lincoln Live. Today we are live with Jim Garcia with Garcia's Hunting Preserves, and we are going to learn more about him and his awesome business. So Jim, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for being here, introducing me to all of this new Facebook. Been around forever, but new to me.
Yes, I totally understand that. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I've been a long-time resident, both here in Lincoln, Loomis. Haven't really gone all that far. I've been in the hunting industry for almost 30 years now. My family, it is a family-owned and operated business. Mm-hmm. We have some very good friends who also help with the hunting business that are very close to us. So it's very tight-knit. Again, being in the business for a little over 30 years now, it was never my intent, but I've taken it into the realm of a career. Initially, I started out as a hunter, which I've hunted my entire life. Mm-hmm. I came from a hunting family. My father, my uncles, who took me out and educated me in the world of hunting, and I always had that in my heritage. Which I'm very proud of, and it's been quite the experience. But it turned into something greater. I worked for Aerojet for 16 years. Okay. I walked away from the rocket building industry and just went into the hunting. It all started, I was a member of a hunting club. It was called Bob Royers. Bob was instrumental in our community. He came from Roseville, a very well-liked guy. I was a member of that club. It was one of the very first, actually, private licensed game bird clubs in the state of California. I, being a member as a young man, it wasn't until his latter years that he approached me and asked me if I wanted to take over. Of course, quite a shock. Sure. It's like I was on this end of it as a hunter, and now somebody's asking me, do you want to take over? Giving it a lot of thought. I had to figure out how that would work for me and the family. Sure. And as it turns out, it did. I think I look back now, and I love what I did with Aerojet. I love the people. Mm-hmm. And now I've moved into an industry where I've met so many more and carried on that legacy, if you will, of friendship and family through the world of hunting. So we gradually built upon our club. Originally, I took over. We had 66 members that Bob had passed down to me. Bob stayed with me for 2 years until his passing and helped me along. From that standpoint of only 66 members, I realized that this could be something even bigger. Sure. So innovatively, we put together some different programs that we thought we could expand upon. Prior, all we did were some pheasant and some chukar hunts. We had a really good time with that. We did well. But the opportunity arose where I acquired other lands for both duck, geese, waterfowl basically, more upland, and eventually we actually moved into wild pig hunting. I have a very close friend of mine, his name is John Alvarez, who lives in the Williams area, and he and I partnered many, many years ago. He and I, to laugh today, we don't know how many years. It's been a while. Yeah. So almost become as family with not only with John and I in our relationship, but with his family as well. Sure. Going back to this being a tight-knit family organization. Although it's his property, he and I have worked together. So we expanded into wild pig hunting as well. So when in talking about the landowners, it's very important to note that without the land, we have nothing. Sure. You can be a guide, you can be an outfitter, you can be the landowner. If without the land and its owners, you don't exist. So you build upon that relationship, as I did with John and I, and with the others out here. There's a Silvergate property, Riley Swift, there's Jeff Oberdeen, there's others out here who have the bulk of the property, and I've been working with them over 20 years. Great people. Not only do I have the right to hunt on the property, but there's more that comes with it. As a land manager, I make sure that the bad people stay off. Sure. We'll go there. Yeah. And so there's much to it. But building the relationships with all of these business communities is what has really changed my life
Right.
and for the family. It isn't all about the thrill of the kill or how many fish did we catch. There's so much more that goes into it. Unfortunately, there is this stigma out there that we're a bunch of blood-hungry animals and we shoot things and we just leave them out there. That couldn't be further from the truth. Right now, we currently release, not that they all get shot, but we release close to 10,000 birds a season. All birds are consumed. People enjoy their chukar, their pheasant, their waterfowl. We just concluded a waterfowl hunt just yesterday. As a matter of fact, just before you folks got here, I received a phone call from the individual who we took on the hunt, he and his son, to thank me. When you get those, it really gives you a sense of pride of we did what we were supposed to do.
Right.
Enough so that this man called back and said, my son had the best experience he's ever had. He killed actually a banded duck, which is now going in. He's going to have it mounted and he'll have it forever. The banding is an identification where they capture the ducks at a certain age. And, we as the sportsmen keep track by calling in those numbers, and they can tell us where the duck was banded. And so anyway, there's a history behind that.
Sure.
I guess the bottom line is that it was enough that the person called you back and said thank you.
Right.
There's so many of those experiences that I couldn't even begin to tell you. I could literally write a book. But when you go back from a hunting perspective and we look at all the game that has been harvested, whether it be deer or elk, duck, pheasant, geese, you name it, you don't remember them all. There's certain ones you do, though.
Right.
There's certain ones, and my heart goes out, and particularly to the youth. And so when we have these youngsters coming in that are bright-eyed and don't have a clue, basically, we're also acting as teachers when we're in the field, sometimes even to the adult.
Sure.
And that's a part of what we do. Safety is paramount. It's number one. So if we see an unsafe situation, we're going to act upon it. We're going to tell them. This is without putting them in an embarrassing situation. But when you have kids, youngsters who are just starting, you don't know what you're going to get.
Right.
you just don't know.
You never know.
But for the most part, they've been educated by their father or their mother. Speaking of moms, that is what I have found in the last 10 years. I'll say the last 10 years, where this has evolved. We're seeing fewer and fewer hunters that are dropping off. Could be age, could be whatever the reason being. But we're seeing a lot of new folks come in as well.
Yeah.
And in particular women.
Oh, wow.
Which is really cool. We have gals that come out with their bird dog and they go, out they go.
Right.
It's like right on.
They just know what to do.
The other thing that we're seeing a lot of is it's more of a family experience now. And people would think, oh my God, kids out there with guns. Well, I'll bite my tongue. There's a lot of safety going on out there. And the fathers and the parents are very much aware. But it's very heartwarming when you see mom out there with this one, and one in the papoose in the back.
Wow.
No, literally. And so the kids are all safety. They've got their little earmuffs on. But when you see mom and dad out there, whether they actually get what they're out there to pursue, pheasant, chukar, whatever,
Sure.
they're having fun. You're seeing the kids picking the daisies, smelling the roses, catching a grasshopper, finding a frog. There's just, or they come back and they're kids being kids. It takes me back to my Little League days, and we've all been through that when you've got the kid out in the outfield and he's looking at the flag and the butterfly, and that's all a part of it.
Yeah.
But when you see these youngsters and dad and or mom actually harvest a bird, and you see the kids bringing them in, and they won't let them go. They're going home with that bird on their lap. It's like, this is cool.
Right. Yeah.
So there's a lot to it.
So I want to just go back just a little bit. You had mentioned Bob Royer, and I know that was a little ways back. You mentioned that he kind of hand-selected you, if you will. What do you think it is that he saw in you way back then that made him kind of do that? Because you did have a successful career, and it was, you were in corporate America and all of those things. So what do you think it was that, that he understood and knew that you'd be the one to carry out that legacy?
I never asked him that question. So to give you a first-hand knowledge of that, I guess that would have been an important thing to ask him at the time. Why me? But I was so excited. It was like, okay, I'll take it.
Right.
Again, I had been a member of Bob's, and as a young man, 17, 18, 19, I was able to drive. He noticed that I would come out by myself with my dogs, and so there was some ethics. He trusted me, where sometimes when guys go off, things happen, and maybe they're stealing birds, who knows?
Right.
But I know he trusted me.
That's right.
He never had a question of, is this kid stashing birds? What's he doing out there? But he always comes back with birds, and I always checked in. And so there was a matter of ethics. And he realized that I had a passion for it, too, because we would sit around and have a hot dog and, at that time, honestly, a Coke. And we'd sit around and we'd talk. And I think he realized that it was a passion for me.
Yeah.
And the years went by, and it was, I think, I was 17, 18, I was hunting with him. And it wasn't until I was in my late 20s, mid-20s, when he actually approached me. So a lot of years had gone by, and I hoped that maybe he was watching me that whole time and went, Tag, you're it. So.
It's something I see myself just, at the point of my life when, my kids are older, they're teenagers, and so there's a lot of kids that are in my life that are teenagers, and I see there are just, those certain people that really stand out as being somebody that you can count on, rely on, and that's not always everyone. So that says a lot.
Well, I believe that's in every walk of life, whether it's a business suit in town.
Sure.
It really comes down to the ethics and the values of those that we employ and that we surround ourselves with. Absolutely. As they say, birds of a feather.
Right.
And so I believe that is what has propelled us in this industry to be here as long as we have. And it's truly a blessing. If I had to look back and say, what is your greatest feat? And that was existing this long.
Sure.
How did I make it this long? When others have fallen and gone away, right. and here we still stand. That doesn't mean that's how it's going to be tomorrow. But you continue with that ethical basis and foundation to carry you forward. And I think that as we pursue and continue with the youth and everything, it will continue to grow, or if anything, at least stay even. Going back to the land statement, that's a lot of that hinges upon that, of the growth and everything that we're seeing in the area.
Absolutely.
And there's so many dynamics that could change what we do in a heartbeat.
Right.
Whether it be legislatively, who knows what may happen.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that really keeps me going personally, I have such a support group of, again, the landowners themselves, who I love dearly, become friends with many.
Sure.
But also my staff. So I have Ben Littlebridge, and I have Andy Bauer that does my waterfowl division, Ben, who's just my all-around do-it-all kind of guy. Ended up, he's actually probably about my son's age, and we took him and his family on, they took us on, and so we've become like family.
Sure.
And this start now. My wife, I can't say this. Oh, by the way, honey, I don't normally. I'm wearing it. Normally I don't, because of my industry. I'm out there in the field, and I'm afraid that it's going to go bloop into a creek or something.
Sure.
So I think I'm wearing it today. But I look at the work that we have done with the youth, and looking back at those things that really stand out, that keep you going. And the ones I remember are the hunts with the young kids, experiencing, not for taking it for granted, and realizing that they're seeing for the first time what you have lived your whole life. So it's brand new.
Sure.
It's brand new.
Yeah.
And so there's some mentoring and coaching that goes along with that. And I look back at my time frame that I had with my own son, and to see, as I did here recently, let me tell you, we had a young man, and we were in a turkey blind. A little story here. And we're out, and it's dark 30, and myself and he and his father are in the turkey blind. And this kid could pretty much care less that he was there, and it kept eating on me as the morning grew. What made it worse is he was sitting there on his cell phone.
Oh, yes.
Now, Dad has spent his hard-earned dollars and his time because he wanted to have an experience with his son.
Right.
His son seemingly didn't care that he was there. And this is one of those things where, as a guide, outfitter, owner, I had to make a judgment call, and I really stepped out on this one, not knowing what kind of reception I was going to get. Mostly I was afraid, what is Dad going to say?
Sure.
But I remember turning to the young man and telling him that, you know, number one, your dad has taken the time to spend his hard-earned dollar to bring you out here to have an experience.
Right.
Now, we're in a blind this close to one another, and he's sitting right here.
Yeah.
I said, this is my rule. You can continue to play your play game, but you're going to do it back in the truck. Or you can put it away and enjoy what's going on here this morning.
Yeah.
Your dad just turned to you and asked you, did you hear that bird gobble? And you went,
Right.
That's what we're here for. This is what your dad wants you to be a part of. And if looks could kill, from a 12-year-old, 14-year-old,
Sure.
I'll never forget the glare, the look.
Yeah.
Dad never moved. He never budged, never said a word.
Yeah.
And I said, that's your decision. You get up out of the blind, go back to the truck and play all you want to,
Right.
or you turn it off and put it back in your backpack. And he looked at me, and I saw it go off, and he put it back. Long story short, 30, 40 minutes later, we had some toms gobbling. They're coming in, and all of a sudden you could see the kid, everything changed. He was so excited. And the bird came in, and Dad was talking to him. I'm talking to him. Bird came within range, and I coached him, take him. Boom.
Yeah.
Boy gets his bird. The next thing that happened, and I've had this multiple times, where the father-son, father-daughter go out, and the embrace that was received by the father from the son,
Right.
of which I captured, of thank you,
Right.
is like, you know, and
Nailed
Dad's
it.
crying.
Aw.
You know, it's just, they were together.
Yeah.
The kid came to the plate, and you know, I remember that from my son as well.
Right.
The first experience, and my son telling me, you know, thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah. Wow. Wow, that's awesome. You know, I mean, I think you really nailed it. It's just that togetherness. And so unfortunately, as a society right now, we're kind of missing that. And I think that was cool you called that kid out and kind of let him know.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, it's harder as parents to really, you know, make the kids aware of how they're impacting others when they're you know, just so stuck in their own little world, but just really being present with others.
And I guess my emphasis on that is that it's, again, people think that we're all out there just to kill. It's become a family experience. And when you see these guys out there with their dogs, or women out there with their dogs, everyone will come in and go, we had a good time today. Did you get any birds? Nope. Missed them all. But boy, you should have seen my dog. He was so good, or my dog made this retrieve.
Yeah.
And that's what the experience was about.
Yeah.
You know, none of us are starving to death.
Right.
You know, and hunting is not cheap. And these guys, you know, they work hard. I have every walk of life out at my club, some that people wouldn't even expect, from the blue-collar guy that's just struggling to get along and make the payments, and he saved up the money to buy a bird card, to the guy that has everything. But what is, I take such pride in my members, which we have about 300,
Oh, wow.
is that we have the wealthy individual in the club.
Right.
We have the guy down here that's just barely making it with his family.
Sure.
You wouldn't know the difference.
Right.
That's what's cool.
It levels the
You
playing
don't-
field.
You might see him pull up in a brand new F-350 or something. Oh, like, wow, dude, 80 grand for that. But outside of that,
Yeah.
he put his pants on just like everybody else.
That's right.
And you don't see that in this club. And I extend that thanks to the community. 90% of my members have grown up or live within probably a 50-mile radius of the club. So, you know, we have guys from El Dorado, Nevada City. We have a lot of folks now coming from Truckee, from Nevada that come in there to hunt. But the base of my club are Lincoln residents. They're Rockland, Roseville, Loomis.
Sure.
You know, and so a lot of them I went to school with.
Oh, yeah.
Or the guys that older or even younger, hey, they went to school together.
Sure.
And so it's kind of a cool thing when you get back and we talk about tailgate parties. Well, we don't have anything out there, no fancy clubhouse, none of those amenities. But the camaraderie of the guys, when it's all said and done, you sit back on the picnic table and you see 5 or 6 of them that never met each other. And they're going, hey, how'd you do today? And pretty soon the conversations go on. They're sitting on the tailgate, and having their lunch or whatever, and then you see the kids. The kids running around the parking lot, and it's just all good stuff.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that you had about 300 members currently. A couple questions. Number one, are you looking to grow? And number two, is there an application process that comes along with that, or how would somebody reach out if they were interested in learning more?
Sure. Well, we do have a website, garciashuntingpreserves.com. Through our website, which my wife developed. Thank God for her.
She's so supportive.
Beyond belief. Okay. This is about the best I can do right here. I go out there and I'm the mule. Go out, you've got members, go plant birds. But all the technical aspects, the financial aspects, everything she takes care of. And it can get overwhelming. But to answer your question, so they can contact us through the website, or they can call us. That number is also located on the website. So we're open to folks that just want to call and have conversation. How does this work? And you get more of that in pig than anything, because there's so much that goes into that we can't do it in a text message or an email. It's like, folks, we need to talk on the phone.
Yeah.
And that would be the best way to find us. And anybody that types in Northern Cal hunting or pheasant hunting, from what I understand, we're one of the first that pops up.
Oh, good.
Well, there aren't very many left, unfortunately. Yeah. And I say unfortunately, we lost a large hunting base when there were 2 or 3 clubs that closed down. We were healthy as it was. But we don't know where those 200-300 went. 400, 500, they didn't come to me. Where did they go? So you wonder, did these guys just quit? Did they say enough of it?
Sure.
And so that's where you start seeing the drop off.
Yeah.
But then there's that encouraging part when you see, like we spoke earlier, the women, the kids that are coming back into it, whether they hunt or not. At least you can see that mom and dad are instilling certain disciplines in their life. And like I said, it's all good stuff when you see them all around the parking lot.
Yeah.
So that's the best way to reach me.
So I was just curious. I mean, like I told you offline, I don't have a ton of knowledge myself. What exactly is a hunting preserve, and can you kind of give a brief synopsis of that for the folks that are watching that may not know?
Well, that's a pretty broad question, because there are guides, there are outfitters, there are people who have property, as I do, where we do a multitude of hunts.
Sure.
Some properties are species specific, could just be duck.
Yeah.
This property over here is only conducive to pheasant and chukar. This one over here is pig.
Yeah.
Whereas a hunting club, and in most part, people join as a member. They pay a fee to become a member. We don't do that. We're not going to charge you just to step in the door.
Sure.
So people call up, they go to the website, and it lists whatever it is they want to hunt, whether it be chukar or pheasant, and they just check that off. Once they sign up, they are a member of the club, which gives them access to the properties, or property, depending on what it is they're hunting.
Sure.
Everything is done on a scheduled basis, so you as a hunter would call me and say, hey, Jim, I want to come out Saturday at 9 o'clock. I'm bringing my 2 kids, and we want 5 birds, bringing the dog, and we send them back and say, okay, looks good. We'll see you then. Whereas you have outfitters. These are typically folks who have leased up certain pieces of property, and in for the most part, they're big game. Elk, deer, moose, those kinds of critters, which you don't find a lot of here in the state of California.
Yeah.
Although on a limited basis. But, well, not moose. We don't want any moose. So they're a whole different part of the industry. And they may just purchase a big swatch of land, and then they advertise out to their people to come out to my place because we have elk and antelope and mule deer and things like that. I don't have that.
Gotcha.
So I advertise what I do. So what makes up a club? I think the embodiment is its membership and your outreach, who you have as your clientele.
Sure.
Retaining those people.
Right.
That's a big one. That comes back to the integrity of who you are. You're not always going to be successful. And keeping that in mind will help you go to bed with a clean conscience and be able to sleep.
Right.
Not worrying. You want them to have the best experience they possibly can, but it doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah.
Mother Nature has a way of changing things.
Sure.
And that's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
But so basically, hunting clubs, they're throughout the continental United States. They're everywhere. When you look at just the economic base of what we bring in, which I think is sadly overlooked so much because of the stigma. Oh my gosh, it's hunting. Right. But if you get out of the bubble we call California, and you go to Idaho, Washington, Montana, some of the other states, and you'll see signs, welcome hunter. Please come here and eat. What Lincoln does, I don't know that they even value sometimes, is that when you take 300 members, that isn't including the people who are not members, because we allow people, let's just say you want to come try us out. Say, hey Jim, we just want to come out. We don't want to join as a member, but we want to do a day hunt. Okay, well, we have a bird minimum. You come out, you pay us, we put the birds out, and we can help you or assist you because we have dogs with their handler who go out. We don't rent dogs. So it's either myself, my wife has done it, or Ben or some of the other folks, and we go, hey, we need you to take out so-and-so today and run the dogs. So that's been a very large part of our income base as well, in reaching out to those folks who perhaps, one, either can't afford the big card, or there's a time restraint. And they go, I can't buy a card because I'll never finish it. But when you look at that base of 300 plus all the other people, once a week coming out to go hunting, sometimes twice a week, multiply that by 4 months by 300 people that drive through Kim's Country Cafe or Karen's Eatery over here or Power Mart. I don't know that, I wish it were more appreciated. Yeah, of the base that we bring in. It's just that they're kind of quiet, except for when we come in with muddy boots. Then all of a sudden, oh, you've been out hunting, haven't you?
No, I totally. Oh, okay. Well, I did want to open up the audience. I'm sorry, you've not seen the show before. He doesn't really do Facebook.
Apologize.
That's okay. But we are very interactive, so we like to open it up to questions from the audience.
So Richard Buss said you look like a hunter. And then we have some. So we had a question from Janet asking how many landowners do you work with?
Currently, I would say there are 4 different landowners, and one is a very large landholding corporation.
There's a Brian Mullen said, what a gorgeous man.
You must know him.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Hey, Brian. Michael said, Sarah was our pup's daddy. So a lot of comments. And then we do have a question about the prices for hunting.
And we'll apologize in advance. Our tablet is actually quickly dying because of the area that we're at.
But very quickly, the pricing is all at the website, garciashuntingpreserves.com, and then it'll give you pricing of everything that we do.
Perfect. Okay, so let's talk about the raffle. So you want to hand that hat over here? So everybody who watches the show on a regular basis knows how this works. You're going to share this video, this live video by noon tomorrow. You're going to comment shared in the comments below, and that's going to enter you into a raffle and to win this awesome custom Garcia's Hunting Preserve hat. And so we will go ahead and draw a winner. But again, share this live video and comment shared by noon tomorrow, Wednesday, October the 30th.
And I'd also like to add, I wasn't aware of the raffle. Again, my wife kind of said, you're getting interviewed.
Yeah, we figured it out.
Yeah. So anyway, I'd like to throw in a bird hunt in there. Well, I'm sure you have some hunters out there. There may not be. And then if they don't, they can pass it on to somebody who is.
Sure.
And so we will include a 5-bird pheasant shoot on us, which would include, if they don't have a dog with its handler.
Okay. So real quick, just because I'm curious.
I didn't want to be cheaper today.
What type of dogs do you guys use?
Mainly it's German Shorthairs, GSPs. They're pointing dogs. We do have some lambs. My youngster is not ready. She kind of does what she wants, when she wants, how she wants. The other ones are a little more disciplined. So I have 5 Shorthairs in the back, and let's see, 2 of my guides also. We also work with a dog trainer. His name is Earl Wood. He's out of Roseville. And he comes out on demand. It's like, Earl, hey, I need some help. In fact, he's coming out Friday because I have too many that need dogs and handling. I can't handle them all. So Earl will come out with his dogs, and 9 times out of 10 they're of the pointing breed. But I also like to add, if I may,
Yes.
we also own and operate a dog and cat boarding facility in Loomis. It's called Red Barn. So we'll take care of your pets as well when you're on vacation.
Especially the pointers.
Any of them. As long as they don't bite, I'm good.
Yeah, no.
Poodles, a little yappy, but we'll take them.
Awesome. Well, it's been so good talking to you today, Jim.
Good talking to you as well.
Getting to know more about your awesome business and everything that you guys are doing. And I appreciate you guys watching, and definitely share the video so you can be entered into the raffle. We will see you guys next week. Have a good week. Happy Halloween.